Well, hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to tell you guys about the number one tool that you can use to improve your photography. Now, I'm not talking about the actual content of your photos. That is entirely on you as the photographer. But I'm going to tell you about the number one thing outside of yourself that will really take your photos to the next level. It's not your camera or your lenses or your tripod. It's not any of the things that are in your camera bag. The number one tool that you can improve your photos with is your photo editor. So this morning I was editing a picture that I had shot last night with my iPhone. It was just a quick shot of some Brussels sprouts on the stove that I thought looked picturesque. And so I was going through cleaning it up a lot, taking out some weird spots that had gotten in it just because it was a quick snapshot with the iPhone camera. And while I was doing that, I thought to myself, you know what, at the end of the day, hands down, I would rather have a nice photo editor than a nice camera. And I'm saying that as somebody who just bought a really great camera. And don't get me wrong, great cameras are wonderful. They're important, they're very helpful to photography. But a good photo editor is going to really cover for the mistakes of a cheap camera in a way that a great camera is never going to cover for the lack of a good photo editor. As nice as it sounds to take pictures and have them look wonderful straight out of the camera, we're no longer using film cameras. This isn't the 90s anymore, and the world has just moved on. So in the film world, photographers would take incredible photos right out of their camera, and they looked great when put next to the other photos of the day. But today in the digital world, chances are you want to share your photos on the internet. You want to put them up on Instagram or some other platform. And once they're out there, they're going to be competing against hundreds of other photos. And if your photo is next to one that is well adjusted and well edited, no matter how great it may look straight out of the camera, it's just not going to compete. While they might not know it, everyone scrolling through their Instagram is a photography critic. The exposure, the saturation, the sharpness of a photo are all subtly determining whether or not they're going to hit the like button on that photo. And so the exact same scene next to a dull counterpart, if it's well adjusted, it's going to get a lot more attention than something that's just flat and dull and straight out of the camera. Now, on top of that, a photo editor is much cheaper than a camera. And so if you're just starting out in photography and you're wondering, where should I spend my money? Or if you just have a phone with a halfway decent camera and you don't have the money to spend on a really expensive camera, the good news is you can get a photo editor on your computer for, say, $50, and you'll be able to get really great edited shots from that just using a cheap camera, because it can really compensate for some of the factors where your camera may fall short. So if your camera struggles to get photos that are properly saturated or have the correct white balance or contrast or exposure or the sharpness of the photo, maybe they all look a little bit soft, the good news is a photo editor can adjust all of those things. And even a really basic photo editor that you can use for free is really going to improve your photos, as I showed you a few videos back. But if you get a really nice photo editor, you'll be able to adjust specific parts of your photo in a way that you just can't do with the camera. Suppose there's some rocks that you want a little bit brighter and some other trees that you want a little bit darker. You can adjust each one of those things and change every little detail about the photo to make it just perfect looking. And in addition to that, even with expensive cameras, I think that they're really designed for you to edit their photos that come out of them. Yes, there is a JPEG option in the camera, and you can use it and get some great shots that way. But they all have a RAW format. Even the iPhone has a RAW format now, and every phone has a photo editor built into it. And so if you've got a limited amount of money and you're wondering where to start, I would suggest that you buy a nice photo editor. Get Lightroom or Affinity Photo or any of the large number of photo editors that are available on the internet, and then learn how to use it. Learn retouching and exposure and saturation adjustments. Learn how to dodge and burn and adjust specific parts of the photo and make the photos from your cheap camera look really nice. And then those skills from that are going to apply for years down the road. So if you later on buy a really expensive camera, you can apply those exact same skills in that same photo editor to the photos out of that camera to make them look even better. So that is going to be all for this video, guys. And as always, thank you so much for watching my videos, and I will see you in the next one.